but I chose to become that person. I created myself. Everyone does that without realizing it or with intention.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to MentorZ. Today we have on Quentin Allums, co-founder of Mad Genie and Milwaukee Misfits. Today we'll be talking about the power of human connection and how to constantly learn and drive curiosity. Most importantly, I think we're going to be talking about Quentin's journey and what he's learned throughout the years. I absolutely love this conversation, and I hope you have a fun time listening. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to MentorZ. Today, I have a really cool guest on, Quentin Allums. He is the co-founder of Mad Genie. He does virtual reality. He's getting back into it, digital marketing, 3D design, social media manager, and so much more. The list can go on and on. Quentin, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm pumped. I'm sorry I put this off for so long.
Hey, you're totally fine. You're like, as I've been looking into, you're such a busy guy. We were talking beforehand, you just down coffee. So you have to be up and moving all the time.
Oh yeah. Bad addiction here.
I'm starting to get on the coffee train, so I can kind of understand. Haven't gotten into it yet. But so where did all of this start? Well, actually, no. I want to start with what you're currently doing with Mad Genie and everything that revolves around that.
Yeah. So Mad Genie is a personal branding and business innovation company, a consulting company. So essentially we're working with entrepreneurs, business owners, C-suite executives, athletes on their personal brand and helping them tell their story and communicate to their target audience. So we're driving massive traffic for those people. And then we also have a subsidiary called Milwaukee Misfits. And essentially it's an events company, and we're taking renting out houses on Airbnb and throwing a cool party, connecting different industries, different influencers, and throwing events that nobody has ever seen before. That's missing here. So Mad Genie and then Milwaukee Misfits is under that. And it's been a lot of fun. I've learned you and my team is really, really great. So
yeah, first off, because I looked a little bit into Milwaukee Misfits, and you said you throw parties and you host things for people. Do they all come to Milwaukee?
Yeah, so
get together.
One of the biggest problems in Milwaukee, I used to work for this company called Milwaukee, and they're awesome. I remember one of their events, they had a ballet. It was called the Naked Ballet. They had a ballet. They were totally clothed, but a ballet in the middle and then networking around it. And then they had a small stage with a jazz band and a rapper. And it was the coolest thing ever. But none of that, stuff like that doesn't happen anymore. And there's this huge disconnect between entrepreneurs and creatives and photographers and all that here. So we want to bridge that and strip down the staleness, the just everything. I hate networking. So make that more human, connect people across industries. So we just rent out houses and throw parties, but it's business oriented.
Honestly, that sounds like quite the life. I would love that, because especially when you're connecting those bridges and you get those matches made in heaven, when you get the art people with the technical people and the creatives with the business, it's just wonderful.
Exactly. And there needs to be more of that.
So how do you go about finding those people and then bringing them all to one location?
Whew. One of the biggest issues when I started my business, I had no network, and I found out that I had no friends and nobody cared about me. So I started building my own network. So now I have, sorry, I'm going to turn my phone off.
You're fine.
Now we have our Misfits group, and then a pretty big network on LinkedIn. We're driving about 100,000 views every single week. So it's very easy to get in front of people. And as long as we can sit down for coffee, we can convince them to come and do this, because they're getting so much value from it.
Well, yeah, you're getting value and experience. I feel like being in a room with people who aren't I'm a high schooler. So when you say we go to a party, we have at a house party, to me, that's oh no, a bunch of stupid people are going to get drunk. But no, you have it so different when everyone comes together with a purpose and just works together, or meets other people, and you get those sparking ideas. That sounds amazing.
Exactly. You get a bunch of cool people together and awesome things happen. That's all it takes.
Dude, first off, connecting people is wonderful. And then I want to dip in a little bit to your origin story, because you said I didn't have any friends and no one cared. You remind me a little bit of David Goggins. You know who that is?
Yeah.
You,
Not familiar with the story, but I know who it is.
yeah, well, his background stories, he was heavily bullied and he didn't have that good of a home life. And that kind of taught him the crude lesson of no one cares about me.
Yep.
And from that, he kind of had to stand up on his own and go off on his own. I'm not saying you have that you that horrible, because that kid was going through it rough. But what was the starting point for you, and how did you get to where you are now?
um, it's a good question. It's a difficult question, but I I wasn't so much bullied, a little bit, but I just never really fit in. I was always that misfit, always that outcast. I was that kid sitting in the back corner writing poetry, but I was crazy athletic and did all these things, and people liked me. I just didn't really like people. I wasn't able to communicate. I wasn't able to connect. That was always missing for me. Um, but coming into college, I just won. I was second in the state for triple jump, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to go and jump in college. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to play music and go travel the world. But that didn't work out. Came to Milwaukee, went to school, and I had no friends. And coming into school, I was homeless. So moving into the dorm, I had my guitar, I had a couple clothes, and my mom dropped me off, and I was just there. And I started hustling with my guitar and making a little bit of money, and then eventually discovered marketing. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. I like this people. And that's when I found that Milwaukee company. And that just opened the doors to everything in this city. Like I was 21 years old and pitching the owners of an NBA team. I was talking to the mayor, like all these cool things. And it just opened my eyes. And that's what I thought I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And then I met this cool guy, futurist. Like you sit him in front of a whiteboard, and he'll tell you like, like this is where we're at now. This is what the human condition looks like. This is where we'll be in 2055. Like the dude's crazy, and got me hooked on technology and VR and all this stuff that I thought would happen maybe in my lifetime, but it was already here. And then I started working with a VR company and a wearable technology company. I just absolutely fell in love. Fast forward into my college career, declined both positions for a full-time job, took a dead-end corporate job because I didn't want to fall in love with doing that. And I knew I wanted to start my own thing. And then I quit and I launched my company. And that's when everything hit me. Like I totaled my car. My girlfriend dumped me. My dog got sick. My dog got hit by a car. Like just
Oh,
all this stuff. He's okay, but all this stuff, and like I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea where to go, how to do it. But I just started talking to people and connecting the dots, and eventually I got to where I am now. But it took going through all that bullshit to get where I
well, that's an incredible story. I hope you tell people that. I hope you have like a why video and you put that up.
am. Maybe, yeah, soon.
Yeah, because I mean, first off, such humble beginnings, and then stumbling into this, stumbling into that, coming like moving here, having nothing. How did you start to build yourself up from that? How did you like learn the lessons you needed to learn to get where you are today?
Um, I would say honestly, it was all just being in the right place at the right time and meeting the right people. Like I was a musician. That's the first time I started putting myself out there. The last day of my senior year, I sang for the first time in front of all these people. Um, and then I was on stage for 500 people. And then I went to college and I started putting myself out there, but I was singing. And then I met my buddy Izzy, and he showed me what marketing was and what networking was and how to wedge my way into any company that I wanted. And that was the deciding factor. Just knowing that I didn't have to be this 30-year-old CEO, millionaire to get to people. I just had to connect with them and be human and appeal to something, find that commonality to get to where I wanted to be.
Yeah, and in a world with when we have such mechanization, machine men,
Yep.
how do you find that human connection with anyone?
Yeah. That it takes research, but everything's online, right? I know it sounds weird
Yeah.
researching a human, but like grab a name like Quentin Allums, you go to my Facebook and you see that I like technology, you see that I love coffee, and it's like, dude, like I'd love to sit down with coffee for you. Or like you go to their blog. Every single job that I've gotten, and I've had some pretty cool jobs, I went online and I looked it up and I found a blog and I just interacted with them for a few months. And then I'm like, hey dude, like I'd love to sit down, or hey, like I love this VR post. What about this? What if we inputted that? But just researching them and then finding that commonality and then connecting.
I haven't taken that. Well, I take that approach a little bit with my guests, especially, but I just love that. I just love the idea of that, of having human connection.
Exactly.
So, oh my goodness. Like there's so many questions. I'm trying to think.
And congrats on your podcast. You've been killing it.
Thank you.
You have.
I feel so bad. Okay. My release date is, what day is it? It's the 22nd. It's on the January 1st. I haven't done any editing. I haven't done any, like 2 days ago I realized that I needed thumbnails and pictures. I was like, oh no. So I'm going to be hardcore learning all day tomorrow. That's going to be fun.
Those are the best days. Thank
you. I have so many friends who just are like, because even you sound like a constant learner, and that's what I admire. You know, like how do you? Oh, this is a good one. So how do you constantly drive that human curiosity? Because typically, you know, you get out of school and most people are like, I'm done learning, and they go to a job and they sit down and do the work.
Yep.
But the best people that I know never stop learning, because they know, this is not being Jane quote, because they know that when you stop learning, you're basically dead and you're a zombie, you go throughout life. So how do you keep expanding your mind and learning and then using that?
Well, I have to. And that's the idea behind Mad Genie. Like it's mad genius. And then Milwaukee Misfits, like the people that don't fit in, the people that put their head down, they do it, and they're doing the work because they have this massive vision. And for me, it's just because I have to. Like I won't achieve anything. I won't be able to get clients. I won't be able to live the life that I want to live in 20, 30 years if I don't learn. And I love technology, and I'll probably be the first person to put a computer in my brain because I just love that stuff. But until we get to that point, I need to continuously learn. And it just excites me. Like I'll sit up at night and just look at my whiteboard and just map stuff out because it's exciting.
So what's everything you learn about? Because I know it's technology. Like you can still continue to develop music, and I remember you saying something about poetry. Do you still read and write poetry?
So I don't, but I write a lot. Writing that's my thing. It's always been my thing. But they told me that it'd be very hard to get a job, which is a lie because writing's everywhere. But writing's my thing. Not so much poetry anymore, but I do it a lot for my clients. I do it for my personal brand, and then I code. I am shit. I'm absolutely terrible, but I code. And then I do some 3D modeling as well. Also bad, but I have friends that just demolish. They're amazing. And then of course, like the marketing stuff, the business stuff, but a lot of it, I like to learn from people.
Oh my God. Like, I love that. I love that because you have friends who help you and you are building off of them. Because again, to me, being the dumbest person in the room is so much fun.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what's going to make you great. Like my videographer, literally the best videographer I've ever met in my life. Like he's so good. He used to play professional baseball for the, Atlanta Braves. But he's so humble and doesn't realize how good he is. But every time I'm around him, I learn something new and I'm able to communicate with people. Listen, you need to do this with your exposure, blah, 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 because I spend so much time with them.
Because even things like that, because those little lessons too, because they're not like some, I don't know if they're always big and profound, but being able to take something away every time you interact with a person is probably the most beautiful thing you could ever have in a friendship or an interaction.
Yes.
Because most of the time you have this group of friends or like acquaintances and you talk, and if you're, oh goodness, if you're like a high schooler, it's you talk, you gossip, and that's that. Or they make you laugh. And they're all very shallow connections, shallow relationships.
See, I'm terrible.
And no one's fulfilled.
I've always been bad at the shallow stuff. I've always been like this deep, deep soul. Tell me what makes you you. Tell me what makes you tick. Like I love that stuff.
And honestly, so do I. And that's one of the reasons why I started the podcast, is because I love the deep conversations. the shallowness it is difficult because, you know, typical things like, oh, how's your day, or what's going on in your life? That's okay. But I honestly have gotten people in the first 20 to 30 minutes to tell me their life story or something that's like paining them. And it's just
Yes.
learning the human condition like that is incredible.
Yeah, if you can do that, you can do anything. I'm serious.
Really?
Yeah, like people believe in you. If you can connect to people, you can do anything because people buy from people that they connect with, people that they like, people that they love.
And I feel like that how do you tie that into personal branding? Because that's an online thing.
Yep.
It's hard to say online like I can understand you and I know like and I can get to know your soul and we can be, you know, great people and I can build you up in the world.
Hmm.
That's all hard to do over the internet.
I don't think it's hard. I think people they like to say that social media is this crazy, weird invention, but all it is an extension of who we are. That's all any invention is. So for me, like we're working with these clients on their personal branding. So all I have to do is prove that I know how to do it for myself. And then they come to me. So I'll go on like literally the only place we're really, really pushing hard right now is LinkedIn. 2018, we're definitely branching out, of course, but right now just LinkedIn. And literally yesterday, I made a post and I talked about an event that I went to. And it was just this crazy, crazy event. All these amazing speakers, like the founder of GrowthX and Josh Fetcher and Nathan Harris, all these amazing people. And it was so good that I left early. Um, but I
It was
went
so good that you left early?
it was so good that I was pissed because I wasn't working hard enough and I left early.
Oh.
And I went to go work and there was another guy there. He's like, dude, I love what you're doing on LinkedIn. Like, can you help me? And he messaged me that like yesterday as well when I made that video. And he was at that event with me. And I told that story of how I went to that event and how I did this and that all you have to do is get started. And that like it's just telling those stories. Oh my god, I'm telling stories that other people are going to resonate with, and I know that other people are going through. I'm not necessarily like speaking at them, but it's just my personal stories.
And I understand that. It's like do this. It's not like do this because it's, you know, this is how I did it. What do you think? And they go, oh, I like that.
Yeah,
Can you help me?
exactly. And like I'm 24, so I can't tell. I mean, I do, but I can't. I don't want to tell somebody because I'm just getting started.
I think you're taking off pretty well.
I
I
appreciate
won't
that.
lie.
We just hit 1 million views, so I'm excited.
Really? That's so awesome.
I'm super
Dude,
pumped.
congrats. Okay, wait. I want to backtrack a little bit to the stories.
Yeah.
You're a writer, and so I gotta believe. How do you tell a good story?
You take them on a journey. That is it. That's literally it. So you watch any movie, you read any book, it's bam, they grab your attention. And then they take you on this journey and they bring you up and you go down a little bit and you come back up, come up, and it starts to pick up and it starts to pick up and then bam, climax. And then you're downhill and you leave them with a punch. You leave them wanting more. That's it. Same video, same with written stories.
I think that's you've seen Kung Fu Panda, right?
Yes, I have. I love that I can understand your references because I meet so many people. They're like, "Yeah, you remember that movie from 1979?" I'm like, I have no idea what that is, man.
I
But yeah,
don't
I've seen it.
those are those are wonderful, and you just the journey. That's exactly what it reminded me of. All three of them,
Yes.
because the first one's like hero's journey. Second one was like finding inner peace and knowing that the only thing that matters is the present, and you can change who you are.
Yep.
And then third one was like student becoming the master, and to be a teacher is to not cultivate someone into the best you, but to make them the best them that they can be. And like and it's a kids movie too.
Kid movies are the best.
Thank you. I tried to tell people. I try. Like, guys, they're like, no, it's a panda doing kung fu and he's fat and Jack Black and he's funny. No, no, no. And then
They're the best. Always good takeaways.
yeah, they're very profound. But the hard thing to do is the structure of the story.
Yep.
Because I don't think a lot of people view their lives as a story.
Yep.
Like if someone's life was a book, they themselves probably wouldn't read it. I feel like that's for most people. So how do you
So I
or do
met
you ever
this guy at that event. His name is Josh Fetcher. like I met him through one of my mentors who's good friends with this guy, and he's got over like 11 million views on LinkedIn. He's crushing it on Facebook, and he's got his agency, and he scaled it to an agency off of his credit card. And now it's like a 6-figure business. But I met this guy. I've been following him for a while. I walk to the bathroom and I'm washing my hands, and he walks in, and I'm like, "What's up, dude? Like, I just saw you wrote this post about you're sitting in line." He's like, "Yeah, man, it was great. Blah, 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 blah." Like, the story doesn't matter, but he's like, "I can write a story about anything." And I just thought about it. And I'm like, it's true. Like, it's not that you're lying, but you can write a story about anything. Absolutely anything. And I do it every single day. It's just how you look at it. What's your takeaway?
Well, how do you find something in the ordinary?
So my co-founder just published a post on LinkedIn, and he said, I stood in the elevator backwards today because why not? He's like, people will walk in and they'll look at you weird. They might laugh at you. They might post about it on social media. But we have this perception of what we think is true, how we're supposed to act, how we're supposed to do these things. I don't remember the exact post, but essentially it ended it with, they might laugh at you. They might think you're weird, blah, 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 but they will remember you. If you want to stand out in any industry, face the other way. And it's about an elevator, like standing the opposite way to the elevator. It's a stupid story, but it's a killer takeaway. You can do it about anything.
I guess you just have to find the meaning in anything.
Yeah.
And that's easy.
Exactly.
One time one of my friends got mad at me and because I find that the profound things and the simple things. And he's like, "Ava, I swear, if I drew a smiley face in the snow, you'd find a deeper meaning to it." And then I paused and I was like, "But there is a deeper meaning."
Exactly. Do you know your personality type by chance? Like the Myers and Briggs?
I have no idea. I took it my freshman year in high school and it's gone. I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. You should look that up. I have a feeling you're like a ENFP, which is what I am, and we seem similar. So
E is probably extrovert. N is
it's like, I think it's intuitive. I think it's data versus like feeling or something like that. If you make emotional based decisions or data facts based decisions, I think, and I forget the rest, but
because I know P is perceiving.
yeah,
and then there's J, and that's judging.
So P is that's you like go with the flow, I'm pretty sure, and J is like you're very structured. So boom, boom, boom. We got to do this. We're gonna do this, and then what is the other one? E and F. Yeah, F and yeah, I'm blanking, but I think you're an ENFP. Just shoot me a message later and tell me.
After this podcast, I totally will.
Good, because I'm curious. Like I map all that stuff out. I literally have a notebook, and I map out people, and if I like something, I will steal it and like implement it into my skill set. I'm super weird like that, but it helps me.
I get that entirely. Because like I have friends and I love them to death, and some of them can have like specific traits or sets or like skills
Yes,
that I love, and I'm like, I want to be like you.
Exactly.
Because the worst thing is most people, and this is the sad thing, and I don't like jealousy, but most people get jealous. Yep. And jealous is kind of like this, anger. It's drinking poison and wanting the other person to die. You get jealous and you don't grow. Nothing happens. You just stay mad at the person. So when you have that happiness and you go, "Oh my gosh, you're so cool. I want to be like that." You'll start to grow as well, and you can become that.
Exactly. The fact that you understand that. I just tweeted about that today. Like, just be happy for people. Like, there's so much jealousy, so much envy for no reason. And we all can grow together. We all can reach whatever we want to reach as long as we're there.
Oh, yeah. And when you start to lift people up, that's more beneficial than anything.
Yep.
Because you'll start making friends and knowing people you might never have gotten to know if you weren't jealous.
Hell yes. The only reason I'm where I'm at now is because of that trickle effect, the network. That's it.
And I think that's a beautiful thing. Honestly, the fact that you kind of, not even stumbled, but you just kind of became and kept all those doors open. and he kept learning is such a cool story, and in a way, kind of what some kids I know need to hear, because they don't know. They don't know what they're going to do. They don't know where they're going to be.
No,
And
none of us do.
it's all doors are open. And honestly, that might be scary that might be scary to people, not knowing. And I think that I don't know. Well, did you ever have like a belief during that time that you'll be taken care of or things will go better?
I am probably the most optimistic human being that anyone will ever meet. That's just how I am. So yes, and it always does. And I also believe that whatever you believe is going to happen. I think that whatever you're thinking now, whatever you have thought in the past, that's why your reality is the way that it is now. And that changes a little bit once you get out of high school, but totally. But not knowing was a really, 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 it was a good thing because I wasn't good enough. I wasn't ready to run a business. And if I would have known that, I wouldn't have jumped. So not knowing, because I thought it was great. I'm like, yeah, I'm this young, cool marketer. I had no idea. But I struggled and I failed and I made 300 videos that maybe got like 100,000 views in 300 days. And then all of a sudden I grew and I learned and I moved my efforts to LinkedIn and then I got 100,000 views in a day.
That's
So
crazy.
it's just connecting the dots.
Do you think people that have it quote unquote all figured out, the ones that have it structured, is that worse for them?
I don't I think it's important to be open because things are going to change. Like I have a plan. I totally have a plan, but it's loose. Like I know where I want to be. Like I know that and I want to get there, but how I get there, I have no idea. And I think if we did, then we'd already be there.
I think I understand that. Because people that go, I'm gonna be a doctor. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna do this. I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna ace this test. I'm gonna get into the medical school. I'm gonna ace this test. I'm gonna do, whatever it takes, and I'm gonna be a doctor. And I'm gonna be happy, and I'm gonna work.
Yeah.
But usually, sometimes those people don't turn out as happy because they had this strict path that they never diverged from.
Most of those people aren't happy, and I'm okay with saying that because I talk to a lot of people in every single conversation I have. It's like, yeah, man, I'd like to get away and just step out and do something on my own. I'm like, well, why aren't you? Like, well, well, why aren't you? Well, because of that. Well, why aren't you? It's just a bunch of excuses, and people think that they have to be doing those things, and they don't because you can make money doing anything. I had a business in a video game once. Like you can you can make money doing anything. You could monetize this podcast. By the way, you're freaking killing it. This is amazing. But like you can make money anything.
Thank you. Well, it's because I enjoy conversations, and I, first off, the video games. We have an esports team. Oh my
Oh,
goodness, they're killing it.
see, I want to own one in about 5 years, and I'm going to, and you can hold me to that.
I I honestly I will. And if you need help, I can get you hooked up.
Please
Um
do. I just want to talk to people because it's that's the future, and I'm a big like VR like just tech guy, and like you compare like basketball. Like I love sports, but compare basketball and soccer, all these things, to putting on a haptic feedback suit, something that allows you to feel like, bam, I just got shot here. Put that on. You put on a virtual reality headset that is a little more advanced than what we have now. You have touch controls and like you're fully simulated in this thing. Now imagine competing in the Hunger Games. Compare that to basketball. Which would you rather watch? Like every single time it's going to be Hunger Games or like not even that, but something like that. Like that's so much more immersive and no one has to get hurt.
do you think that that's where how far technology is going to go in 5 years?
Oh, no, no, no. 5 years. Actually, we already have the haptic feedback suits. We already have the touch control. We have all of that. It's people aren't ready for it yet. And VR needs to advance a little bit, but we have it all and we could totally do it. It would just take a lot of work.
That sounds incredible. I want to see that happen
Me
sooner
too.
or later.
Me too. And it will, I promise you. Look up the magic leap when you, after this call. It's, it's a mixed reality headset. And it's probably the most amazing thing I've ever, ever seen in my life.
That's so cool. All right, so speaking of, because you talked about your videos a while back, I was digging through some of them.
Yeah, how'd that
And
go?
it was really interesting. Because at one point you said, "I'm declaring war on my life."
Yes, I remember that. I was weird, but yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I want to I want to know what that was all about.
So I had negative $900 in my bank account. I wasn't making any money. And if I was, I had to give it to the people I was hiring. And I didn't believe in myself. And I didn't give myself room to grow and nothing was happening. And I was just pissed. And I didn't turn that energy where I needed to. It worked out because we're thriving now, but I feel like a completely different person from even like 4 months ago. But I'm done and I'm going for this and I'm going to code every day. I'm going to design every day. I'm going to do all these different things to get to the person that I want to be in 10 years. The problem was though, is that I was taking on too much because I love to learn, I love to grow, and I couldn't do it all. And I had a conversation maybe 4 or 5 months after that. I'm not sure when that video was shot, but it feels like a year ago. 4 or 5 months after that, with a business coach, and she just tore my life apart. And she's like, "Dude, like, focus on this, get rid of this, strip down that, and charge this much." And she told me to make $10,000 in one night, basically. And I didn't do it, but I stayed up, not even a night, 3 hours. She gave me 3 hours. And I remember waking up on the floor. I sent out so many emails. I called people. I sent videos out to people, all these different things. But that was the day that everything just changed for me. And I woke up and I was just pissed because I wasted so much time before that. And I posted on LinkedIn. And I'm like, I don't remember what I wrote, but I talked about that experience and it got 150,000 views. And I was like, what just happened? And all of a sudden people were like, damn, dude, I'd love to talk to you about this. I want you to run my social media. And all of a sudden, like all this stuff came in. And then I met my two co-founders and then like all this stuff happened. But I was sick of it. And that's where it led me.
I don't know if that's one of the, lows, like one of the lowest lows of your life, but you shot out so fast.
See, that's what people say, but it doesn't feel like that. Um, yeah, I guess.
What does it feel like?
It still feels like it's December 2016 in all honesty, but it feels like it's been 10 years since I started. And it's been a year. It's been a little over a year. And like just time, it feels like it doesn't exist. I don't know how to explain it, but
So fast or so slow?
both. I don't know. Just really, really weird. It's gone by so fast, but it feels like I'm still there. I'm just taking my first steps, but yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say you're still just a kid, but you have so many years
Yeah.
are going to happen. And
No, absolutely.
so in a way you are just taking your first steps. Cuz in 10 years time you're going to look back and be like, "Wow, I did nothing."
Hell
And
yeah.
I'm everything.
Yeah, I promised myself at the end of 2017 I would not recognize the person that I am. And up until a month ago, that wasn't true. But this past month has just been ridiculous.
And
Absolutely ridiculous.
yeah, how and where did all that personal growth stem from? Cuz I know it's like self-awareness and
Yeah.
then change. But from self-awareness to change, what happens in the middle?
Self-awareness to change, what happens in the middle? That is a very, very interesting question. For me, that's a good question.
No, you can take your time. You can take
No,
your
that's
time.
awesome. Yeah, for me, I knew what I wanted to be. I knew where I wanted to go. I just had no idea how I was going to get there. But it was the people again. And that's really all it comes down to. And I was talking to this guy who's a fitness entrepreneur, 34 years old, and he had a co-founder who was 45. They're just killing it, but they weren't really happy. And I was giving them social advice. They were giving me business advice. And I was pretending and acting like I knew all these things up to that point. And they kind of like directed me where I needed to go. But one day they came to me like, dude, you're the missing piece to our business. And they were the missing piece to my business. So we collaborated and we shifted and pivoted and restructured Mad Genie to what it is now. Um, but everything that I learned, all how comfortable I got on video, like they were terrible before, but how comfortable I got in the stories I was telling, all I did was apply it to LinkedIn and start building the community. I did all these things without knowing why I was doing them, but they all connected. And
I I mean, that's like that's all human interaction. And then in growth might have been sporadic, but also might have been that like slow meandering process.
Yeah.
And I feel like, the people that influenced you and came into your life were just the right people. You were just
That's
what they
all it
needed.
is.
And they're
That's
just
all
what
it
you needed.
is. Exactly.
Ah, the fact that like chance like that happened is so beautiful. Things are getting set up well for you, man. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. um, yeah, and our team makes no sense. Like we've got Kelly, we've got Mike, we've got Justin. Like we've got 45, 35, 29, and me, I'm 24. We make no sense, but we make perfect sense.
Dude, what is it? It's like controlled chaos.
Yes, madness. Madness is what we call it. Welcome to the madness.
Welcome to the Misfits.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
and then another thing you were talking about. Again, this is like probably a little far back in your videos.
Okay.
Is about cultivating inner drive. Because you're like, motivation is nothing, right?
Mm.
You didn't like it. But you're like, so how do you differentiate that motivation and inner drive? And then how do you build inner drive?
Yeah, so when I'm motivated, like I'll get stuff done, like I'll crush it. I like motivation. It's great when I have it, but you've got to have a habit there. If there's no habit there, you're going to quit because motivation's not always going to be there. So I'm an athlete, or I was an athlete. Um, you wake up every single day at 5 a.m. You get dressed and you go run, you go lift. You don't want to do it, but you know that you have to have that habit. It's the same thing. You have to build that habit of doing everything you want to do. And you have to have something in place that you love so much or you want to get there so much. Otherwise, you won't get there.
You make me feel bad. I have to get up in the morning and swim.
I mean, if that's what you want to do, yeah, but
I
you
mean,
don't have to.
no, because in a way, you have to. Because
Yeah.
if you didn't have to, you wouldn't do it, and
Hmm.
then nothing would happen. So either being forced by a military alarm clock or having your parents come into your room and knock on the door, it's a
Yes.
it's a it's a it's an annoying reminder, but it's one heck of a let's get going.
Yes. And when you can be that reminder for yourself, that's when you win.
And honestly, that's a little hard to do. A lot
Yeah.
of people don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And they just need this external forces. They go, well, I need an accountability partner. I need someone to help me. I need someone to help me. So, but how do you get to that? Like,
Well, I
how do you
have
get to
to.
that point of yourself?
If I don't, I die. So I let go of all my jobs. I got rid of everything. Like I was bringing in no money. So if I didn't, my puppy dies. My kitten, who ran away in that year of destruction and madness, but my kitten would have died and I would have died. Like, so I had to. I put that pressure on me. And I was an athlete. So I love that. I love chaos.
That's incredible. The things you had, like the things of enduring, and yeah, survival. It's honestly survival of the fittest. It reminds me a little bit of Viktor Frankl.
I do not actually.
Cool guy. He's dead now, but
Mhm.
um, he for like 4 years, no, 10 years, I think, 4 Nazi concentration camps.
Oh, wow.
It was horrible, and he was a logotherapist. And afterwards, he wrote a book about all the experiences from the most non-biased view he could tell. And basically, the whole message of this book was it doesn't matter your conditions. It never mattered. The only thing that did matter was your mindset. And that's how anyone survived through the concentration camps.
That is amazing. And that is 100% true.
Yes, and and thinking like that, even like as an athlete, as an entrepreneur, as a creative, as anything, is so valuable, so valuable.
Yeah, because it gives you control. You get to become whatever you want to become. And that's what matters.
It does. I don't think some people realize how much you could just do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's sad because if you looked at me when I was your age, like I was an idiot. Like I knew nothing. I was playing video games and playing my guitar and writing poetry. And I didn't know how to communicate with people. And now I communicate for a living. Now I'm building communities and now I'm on video every day. But I chose to become that person. I created myself. Everyone does that without realizing it or with intention.
I think that, and that's honestly the worst part. when people think that, oh, I can't help it, it's just who I am.
Yep.
It's not. You can
Yeah.
honestly, you can be another person tomorrow. But no
Totally
one sees it.
can. Totally can. It's hard, but it's just a decision. After you make that decision, it's easy. Simple, rather, not easy.
That is true. That is true. The changing of a self is an extremely interesting process
Yeah.
that I love to see happening.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like it's an addiction. You're peeling away the layers. It's interesting.
I love it. And I've enjoyed this talk so much with you, but we're running out of time. Where can people find you?
So I would say the best place to find me is going to be LinkedIn because that's where I'm most active. And you can just search me with Quentin Allums. That's Queen like Nathan, Tin like Nathan again, and then my last name Allum like Mary S. Otherwise, on any other social media platform, just Q and then my last name Allums, and you'll find me.
All right, wonderful. I enjoyed having you on so much, and I'm very excited to see what you do in the future.
I appreciate you and you as well. You're killing it. Keep doing it.
Thank you. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed that conversation. If you like what we're doing, please help us grow by sharing our content. And if you have any recommendation for future guests, please email me at agwetrick@gmail.com.